Growing up in Latin America in the 70s, I witnessed the struggle of women trying to be released from the oppression imposed through generations of a man dominated mentality. And this fight is not quite over. Still, I recognize that the society I come from gave a huge role to mothers, their wisdom, their influence in decision making in families. But also, this was shamefully hidden and choked by generations of abuse, degradation, and deprived opportunities. When it came to pursue careers, raise to positions of leadership, and have representation in circles of influence, women were absent. Even in churches today, this issue of women in leadership is a controversial topic. But when we go to scripture, what do we see? Agar, an Egyptian slave, discovered that God was seeing her. She called the place where he met her, the God that sees me. God met with a woman, victim of slavery, and used as an object to satisfy her owner's needs. But when she met the Lord, he led her and cared for her. Deborah, in the book of Judges, has a special role as a judge. And this is not because there were no other men to choose from, like some people could suggest. I think God does not have women as the last resource. That is not the message I find in the rest of scriptures. Deborah was given the task to lead a whole nation on behalf of God himself. And God met her in the time of crisis, fighting her battles. Ruth, a foreign woman, of whom a whole book of the Bible is written to describe all the possibilities of someone who risked everything she knew and was taught as traditions. She followed the faith of her mother-in-law and adopted a new country. She became the great-grandmother of a king, and God met her, providing a family and a new faith. Esther, a Jewish queen in a foreign land, was used to save her people in the midst of a world dominated by men. Her cousin Mordecai knew how to bring her up to do the task and identify the potential benefit of having a woman in the highest position in the kingdom. And God met her at the time of great distress for her people, foreigners in a threatening land. These are just few examples of what a woman can become when she's met by God and accepts to place herself in his hands. Not necessarily greatness in worldly terms, just reaching the goals set for her, arriving to her full potential. But also when I look at scripture with a woman's eyes, I see forgiveness and welcoming arms. I see Jesus telling the woman that touched his robe that she's considered a daughter. I see him meeting a woman at the well where she was going to fetch needed water and starting a life-changing conversation. I see him meeting a widow on her way to bury her son, moved to compassion and free of the taboo of touching a dead body. I see Jesus telling stories of women as well as of men to make a point or teach a principle. I see Jesus placing value on a poor widow giving her offering at the temple. I see him talking with a woman who was caught in an embarrassing situation and delivering her from being stoned, forgiving, and letting her go with the command, sin no more. I see Mary and Martha enjoying Jesus' friendships and visits and trusting him to heal their brother, then trusting his power to bring him back to life. I see sisters in disagreement being called to unity. I see a woman recovering her lost son through the disciples, and a businesswoman in Philippi welcoming disciples at her home. All through the Bible, God meets women where they are at. They are encouraged, lifted up, and embraced, restored to a position of leadership, dignity, and much value. Genesis 1:27 assures us that we women were created in his image. So it means that there is in us a resemblance, an essence, a way of reminding people of our Creator and a way to feel, sometimes for the first time ever, that we belong, that we are cared for, loved, received, accepted. Both genders are a reflection of who God is. We were designed that way. We are invited to join the fellowship of the Trinity because Jesus has opened a gateway that places us, women from all backgrounds, nations, and condition, in a position of daughters, empowered to experience fullness and fulfillment. God comes to women. He knows where we are and the burdens we carry. Do you see this principle in the Bible? He's telling us that He sees us. And if we open our eyes and our hearts, we will see Him, even in the most ordinary places and the most ordinary things. He lives not only around us, He lives in us. And He's using a time such as this to speak to women around the world and to invite them to be in Him. Wherever you may be at today, you are right where He can speak to you. Be ready for the opportunity to listen and change the perception of your reality. Your gender carries His seal, nothing more, nothing less.